Hey Archie, it's a new year. Do you have any resolutions?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to save money and lose weight.
Well, I can help you with one of those.
All right. I'm Archie Hoxton,
And I'm Rob Hoxton.
and this is Last Paycheck, weekly wisdom to help you retire and stay that way. Welcome back to the Last Paycheck podcast. We're your hosts, certified financial planners Archie Hoxton and Rob Hoxton. And today, we've got a timely episode. We're going to be talking about financial New Year's resolutions. Maybe some ideas for you and some strategies to help make sure that come February 1st, you're still making progress. So, we thought that whenever people talk about New Year's resolutions, most of the time what I hear is, hey, I started it. I wanted to lose weight, and by January 15th, I basically abandoned my goal.
Yeah, that's true for me every year.
Yeah,
The good news is it's easier when it comes to finances if you do the right thing,
right.
right? So,
Yeah, and maybe think about it the right way and plan it out properly. You know, big part of what we do professionally is help people come up with and define goals and then create steps to get there. And really a New Year's resolution it's a goal, right? And so, we like to think about it like this. I mean, if you set a goal and you say, like, I want to lose weight this year, that's going to be a really hard goal to follow up on, because what does that mean? I want to lose weight this year.
for me, it's like after all of the eating over the holidays that I've been doing, and it's if my goal is to just lose weight, I basically just need to skip one meal and I'm going to lose at least a half a pound. And so goal achieved, I can get back to the way I like to live my life. And I, yet another year passes by, I gain that pound and a half over 20 years. That ends up being 30 pounds. And here we are.
Yeah.
So,
Right. And then you end up, feeling discouraged. I mean, with a lot of these things, and we'll find this with financial goals too, the more specific you are, and the more you have kind of a vision of not just a means to an end, but an end as well. Maybe it's not, I want to lose weight. Maybe it's, I want to, exercise 3 days a week for 20 minutes each for the entire year. And that's a new lifestyle. In the same way, we want to think about our financial goals a little bit differently. So someone may come and say, well, my New Year's resolution is I want to save more money. Okay. How do you plan to do that, right? How much? How often are you going to put money aside? And I think the really big one is what for? What do you want to save for? So,
well, this is where financial planning really comes into play, which it can be very helpful. If, in the way that we do planning, we do goals-based planning, right? So when you're in your working years, we set some goals, we help you achieve those goals. And those goals typically sort of kick off about the time that you decide that you're going to stop working and receiving a paycheck. In fact, get that last paycheck. And if we do our job the right way, we give you 2 or 3 things that you need to do this year in order to stay on track.
right.
And one of them might be save a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
If you have to remember every week or every month to save that money, or if there's something else that might like to be used, like to take advantage of that money, chances are you're going to fail.
Right.
Right? You got to put this thing on autopilot, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that is one of the best ways to you're sort of, it's a workaround. It's almost a cheat code. You're going around your weaknesses. For most of us, it's like you said, anytime you set a goal, if you want to save for retirement, if you want to save for a vacation, right? And you just say, I'm going to do it, there are going to be some months where you're successful and some where you're not, or maybe none where you are. So if you can automate that, and we have so many tools at our disposal for automation, right? We live in a time where you can get on your phone, get on your bank's app, and set up an automatic contribution to an IRA, or set up your 401k so that you don't even see the money in the first place. And so that's one way that you can make these goals much easier to achieve, and almost impossible not to achieve,
It's
as long as you don't get in the way.
It's kind of like, I have this thing. I like anything that's like bready or crackers or anything like that, cookies, that kind of stuff. If it's not in the snack cabinet at home, I'm probably not going to eat it. So you got, like you said, you got to cheat. You got to have some sort of way to fool yourself into being successful.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. I mean, we've only got so much willpower and discipline at our disposal, right? So if you can cut out certain things that would take a lot of willpower and automate them, you're going to set yourself up for success.
So it's kind of like, I mean, it's like maybe a really small adjustment. I'm a terrible golfer. I know that the difference between hitting a drive down the middle of the fairway and shanking it into Bobby's, swimming pool, it's a really small adjustment in the way that club face strikes the ball. I mean, like millimeters, right? So it's not always a huge adjustment that over time will get you to your stated goal, right?
Yeah, it can be really, really small 1% increments. So let's say you want to start saving, and maybe right now things are tight. Maybe you've created a budget and you're finding that, well, I'm spending more than I'm budgeting every month. There's nothing wrong with starting really, really small, right? If you go from spending everything every month to saving $5 a month, now you are a saver. You're no longer a 100%.
You're no longer
spender.
that guy that you were.
Yeah, you're no longer completely paycheck to paycheck. You're a saver, and that makes a difference, because especially if you've got time, you've got investments, you've got the power of compounding on your side, and then you can make incremental changes from there. And especially if you're using automation, and you've got something in mind that really energizes you. That leads me to another thought. When you're setting goals, it's important to have something to make it really attractive, so that you don't feel like, well, I ought to save for retirement. Maybe it's, I want to be financially free. I don't want to be tied to my paycheck. I don't want to be tied to my desk. And visualize what that would mean for you, what you might do that maybe otherwise you couldn't.
Yeah, that's like that exercise that we've talked about before, which I learned from a business coach named Dan Sullivan at Strategic Coach almost 30 years ago. He would have us, we were all small business owners, and we were in a room. He would dim the lights. He'd have us close our eyes and picture our future. He called it the movie theater. And if you can picture what this very small change in behavior will result in the future, then that makes it more real, and it makes it much more likely that I think that you'll be able to achieve that very small incremental goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of maybe saving $5 and then stepping it up a little more and a little more every year into the future.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a almost like beyond just a behavior change. You're getting into a mindset change completely. You're thinking about yourself and what's important to you differently. Those kinds of things. I mean, changing habits is really, really difficult. So if you can, get down to your core values and what's really, really important to you, and use that as kind of your motivation, because there's a little bit of willpower and motivation involved in all of this, but you can structure it. So
yeah, I can tell you it. We spend a lot of time with people who are right at the point at which they either want to or need to stop working for a paycheck, and it really creeps up on you quickly.
Yeah.
When you're younger, it seems like that's so far in the distance, and I've got 30 years, 20 years, 15 years, 10 years. All of a sudden I've got 1 year to when I'm going to stop working, and you can't get those years back. You
Right.
can't get the opportunity that you lost by not saving and investing for those years back. Your decisions that you either made or didn't make as a younger person are suddenly irrevocable.
Yeah.
Unless short of winning the lottery or inheriting money, there's not much that you can do. So think about that future person, and make those very small adjustments now. There's that great book we were talking about, Atomic Habits. I can't think of the author's name off the top of my head.
We'll link it in the description.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite books ever. It's a lot of really awesome wisdom, and it's kind of a lot of it is what we've been talking about: incremental changes, changing your what's what how you think about your goal, making it really attractive, making the actions automatic. Um, and he even talks about changing your identity. So you're not living paycheck to paycheck. You're saving now. You're saving. Maybe it's only $5, but now you're a saver. You're not
Yeah.
living paycheck. You're saving. So things like that are it's a really powerful book, and it's important to um, the thing is if you're setting New Year's resolutions, and maybe it's time to really set a New Year's resolution. I'm going to take retirement seriously. I'm going to take my financial freedom seriously. Um, these are some strategies that you can use to point yourself in that direction and make those incremental changes and kind of slightly change that trajectory.
Let's talk about accountability a little bit, Archie. In the operation of our small business, at this time of year, we're really we're starting to look at the new year, and we're excited about what the new year may bring from a business standpoint. And every year, toward the end of each year, we're really trying to nail down what our business goals are. And we've taken to the idea of having a coach to help us not only identify and articulate those goals, but also to break it down so that whatever we're seeing in the future, that movie theater, is broken down into much more manageable bits that we can do in the next week, the next 90 days, the next, 6 months, year, and so forth. But really, the biggest thing about that is that we're paying a coach that we don't want to have to go to and say, oh, we've been sort of slacking off and we haven't really been staying on top of this and we haven't been measuring our results. So, I mean, having a coach or someone that holds you accountable, maybe somebody that's not your spouse, would be, maybe it's a buddy. Maybe it's for finances, maybe it's a financial planner.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really, really, really key. I mean, if you've ever had a challenge to overcome, working with someone makes it much easier. It's like the old adage: if you wanna go fast, go it alone. If you wanna go far, go with another person. It's something like that. I think that having a partner in your journey to achieve your financial goals is can be really, really helpful. And that may be a financial planner, like you said. It may be a buddy. It may be a group of friends, something like that. But that can provide accountability. The professional can also provide other services to you. Helping you to identify your goals and articulate them and get real action steps together for you to take every quarter, every year. This can be really, really valuable to driving your success and making sure that those New Year's resolutions don't wrap up February 1st.
Yeah, and know this, that you will fall short of your aspirations, right? And so I think of it, anytime there's any sort of human behavior involved, it all kind of runs the same way, whether it be money or it be your diet. I know that every year I have a goal of losing some weight. I put a pound amount on there, and then I get going along a month and a half, 2 months down the road, I get distracted, stressed, and I start eating the wrong stuff. And I do that for a month. And it would be just so much easier if I would identify that, okay, Rob, yeah, you fell off the wagon, and now let's get right back on it. The same thing is true with money. If you don't do what you're supposed to do for a particular month, don't let month 2 go past. Get back on that and make sure that you stay on track, because let's focus on progress, not perfection.
Yeah. And with financial goals, we're talking about oftentimes lifelong goals. Now, sometimes you've got maybe a vacation or a car or a home. Those are shorter term, but some of the biggest goals that we have in our life are 30, 40, 50-year goals, depending on where you're starting. So it's like you said, you've got to, it's important to stay on. Once you fall off, you will fall off, to get back. But even if you do, remember, this is a long process. Don't beat yourself up. Just keep getting after it. And results happen over.
And you're fighting human nature.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up. Just get back on the wagon, get back on the horse, and get to doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
I think we're about to run out of time.
Yeah. So that wraps it up. So if you've got some, hopefully you found some ideas. If you didn't have any for financial New Year's resolutions, hopefully you found some information and some strategies to keep on that horse throughout the entire year and every year. And we hope that you tune in next time as well. Remember to share this with your friends and family, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, give us a like. And if you have questions, leave us a comment. We'll get back to you, and maybe we'll address it in a future episode. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. You've been watching Last Paycheck, weekly wisdom to help you retire and stay that way. If you like this show, be sure to hit like and subscribe. Last Paycheck is available anywhere you get your podcasts.